Today, you and I are going to be breaking down the exact homepage structure that's used by million-dollar brands all across the world. After watching this video, you're going to know all the exact sections and layouts that you should have on your own website, along with examples from all the brands that are crushing it, so you can take your information and slot it in. Whether you're launching something new or just refreshing your old site, this is a blueprint that you're going to want to keep handy. Be sure you stick around for the second to last section, because that's where you're going to really capitalize on the benefits of all of these and turn that hefty site visitors of yours into a paying customer. So without further ado, let's dive on it. Okay, so any strong site is going to start with a strong hero section. And one of my favorite examples of a strong hero section that I see very often because I use this product, what we're using to record this video, is Tela, because it is just the primary definition of how simple gets results. Very strong hero headline, very simple value prop, and a clear call to action. They do a very good job of demonstrating their use cases. So they're showing the product right from the beginning and they're teasing a scroll. They have great branding with the background of their section, and it's a very enticing click. Not all brands do this as simply or as well as Tela, but another really good example that we're going to show you is Rippling. So this is more of a software. This is, again, a software product. It's also structured differently. So they have a left-right layout, and they're also opting for an email collect so that you can book a demo. They also have a product tour that you can link to right away with the social proof right below the headline, which is what we're going to talk about next. But as far as hero sections go, these are two great examples. Everything you want to include. The next section you're going to want to make sure that you include on your site, right below the hero section, is some form of social proof. And there's a lot of different ways that you can realize this, depending on what your goals are. So a good example of this is GitHub. They have a scrolling logo section. And this is where they really emphasize the use of some of the strength of their partners. You can see they have Ford, Mercedes-Benz, Philips, SAP. These are very well-known and recognized brands. And you create that value association with them and that sense of credibility right off the bat. Another really good example of this is PlugOp in Columbus, Ohio. They again have a scrolling logo section, and they are locally based. So a lot of these companies to their ideal target customer are going to be very appealing because it creates that sense of familiarity to their hometown, to their area, and they let them know that they're in the right place if they want to start a local partnership. Now, once site visitors trust you and you've established social proof, you're going to want to show them the actual goods. This is where the big benefits section comes into play. Now, this could look like a animated loop, interactive video, or just a 2-section layout. Whatever it is, you have to make this very powerful and unmissable. A really good example of this is Flagship, which is this section right here. And you can also emphasize this, as they do, with your most powerful case study. What they do is they have their best client example, the main value add they added to them, and some stats that revealed what their product did to benefit them. Level setting right away and creating the ideal target outcome of what a conversion looks like for this company. A more interactive take on this big feature section is Rippling, back to the beginning. So they have a very interactive section that also serves as a navigation to all the landing pages of the features of their product. There's iconography, and it's also heavily contrasted so that you can't miss it. It's right off the bat. You want to make sure that your main value prop is displayed in this section as well. Next up, we have what we call 2-column benefits, and this is going to be the most traditional vanilla section that you're going to recognize from this entire video. What this looks like is text on one side and visuals on another, but I promise you it does not have to be boring if you do it the right way. A super clean example of how this is realized is Seamless II. They are based in Dublin, Ohio, and as you scroll through, most companies traditionally don't have these set on the left side, and if they do, there's some kind of a sticky interactive component, but they level everything on their left side, copy on the right, and they do a great job, just to keep it creative, associating color with each of the segments of their product. So, for example, they associate email with blue, they associate phone and SMS messaging with orange, and they associate contacts with purple. So it's a good way to segment your main features by a color. It's one creative example. Another really good example of a company that does this well is Braze.com. So as you can see, they have their main value props. Start building stronger first-party relationships on the left with a really great UI mock-up here on the right and some branding in the background. It looks incredible. They have their AI feature as another one, and they have calls to actions for each of these sections as well. This also serves as a really good way to navigate throughout the rest of your sitemap, having a unique callout beneath each of the sub-headlines that link to a different place. So whether you have 3 or 4 of these left-right feature sections that as you scroll through your homepage, make sure they also serve as a way to navigate throughout the rest of your website. Now, after you've covered all your basics with your left-right sections, you want to get a little bit more creative. This is where what we call the stylized benefits section comes into play. A super strong example of this is Reflect app. So as you can see, they have their main benefits section in a grid layout, so not a left-right. But then they follow up with their AI assistant feature, and it's interactive. So you can actually click and see what the LLM looks like in real time, a little interactive demo. Usually this is something that's center aligned as well, so it takes up more visual space. And this is where you can really apply branding and dump gasoline on the fire. I don't usually recommend having interactive sections too often on your site. Another really good example is if we go back to ClickUp, you can see they do this very well with these tabular sections. Again, don't go too crazy with these because the less you can encourage clicking on your site, scrolling is always easier, and that's why these tried and true frameworks with the left-right layouts work very well. But having an interactive section like this where you can apply a bit more branding and differentiation really goes well if you want to expand your value prop. So after you've hit on all of your benefits, you want to make sure you go to features. There's a difference between benefits and features, and we're going to talk about that right now. Features are where you showcase the nuanced details. Not all of your site visitors are going to dive super deep, but for those who do, you're going to want to make sure you display the full package. And for that, a feature section is gold. Here's how you can lay it out. What you can do is have a sticky scroll section like Cycle app is a great take on this. Simple headline, simple subheadline, and then simple bullet points that emphasize the main value props with all of these interactive sections on the left. So you're getting an experience as you scroll through. And this is super creative because this is time based on scroll and it goes in reverse as you scroll back up. So obviously this is probably a little bit more complex than a lot of teams are used to implementing. And if you're a marketing team, definitely reach out to us to implement something like this for yours. But a more simplified take on this is a bento box layout. And it's a good way to display a lot of information and not a lot of space and make it visually digestible. So this is where they emphasize all of their main features. So charging, UX focus, and AI-based power sharing. Right away, I'm getting some of the features with not a lot of clutter and distraction. They have some good imagery that associates with both of them. It's a little bit easier to digest, not as interactive, and I can see it all right away. Now that you've really banged the drum about yourself and conveyed your branding and messaging through benefits, features, social proof, strong hero section, all the above, you're going to want to make sure that you tie that back to actual meaning. This is the moment that you say your mission or manifesto loud and proud. We're seeing mission statements and some kind of differentiation in terms of just a simple, strong message become a lot more common on homepages nowadays. We really want this to feel special, unique to you, value-driven. And now that people have gotten to know you a little bit by interacting with your site, this is where you really set yourself apart. One of the best examples of a manifesto section I've seen is on Fold.money. Now, their whole site is gorgeous as well. They have this nice little bento grid section. What really sets them apart is their manifesto. So this is where you loop in names and founders. Company headshots go really well here as well. But their main product is a software that allows you to connect your bank and give you a clear picture of your finances. So what it does is it helps people get more in touch with the transactions that are going on in their accounts, make them feel more financially secure, and do that in a way to where they're not feeling anxiety around money. So with a very sensitive topic like finances and money, they make sure to have a strong manifesto section here in the bottom that talk about their founders, where the product originated from, their founder story. This is a really big bonus if you can add something like this that makes your product feel value-driven, and it's a really good way to connect with your visitors. Now, before you ask someone to convert, whether that's to a newsletter, call booking, email sequence, sign up, any sort of opt-in, you want to add one more layer of trust, one more layer of testimonials and social proof comes in handy. Now, different startups are going to present this in different ways. Grids, sliding cards, big fancy pull quotes. The goal is always the same. Show real people getting real results from the value that you offer. Here's a couple of good examples. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of a meta example here, but we have Senja.io, and they're a testimonial collection software. So what they do, and there's in this testimonial section, they literally have a showcase of their own product with this big juicy call to action right at the bottom. They're doing all the things right. They have testimonials, they're associating it with faces, and they also serve as case studies in the same point, because that's what some of the pull quotes from the testimonials are. It's also interactive, so you can slide through this as well. And it's very contrasted, it sticks out, and this just checks all the boxes. Another super strong but slightly more complex take on this is this tabular section. And this features video case studies of every different use case of their product in all their different industries. No matter which of these industries you're in, as a site visitor, if you're wondering if this product is for you, you can literally see someone that is in your exact buyer's footsteps going through this journey and having seen results with their product. And this is one of the best use cases of this that I've seen. They do a good job of having it written and in video. If there's any way that you can tie your product, startup, or service to different use cases that you serve and have a super simple way where you can interact with them, that's going to be a very strong play. And it's going to lead very powerfully into this next and final section, which I alluded to you in the intro, and it is the CTA. And of all the startup sites that I've analyzed for this video, there are so many commonalities with these, and it's hard to find a lot of differentiation. So take that for what it is. It usually features some kind of a bento with a high amount of contrast and a very clear call to action. Some of them have a powerful asset, and this is probably one of the better ones I've seen, but you want to really hit home, add another benefit at the bottom with the call to action, but you want to make sure it's very contrasted, stands out, and it breaks the feed from the rest of the page. You don't want people to miss this before just hitting the bottom with the footer. Another super strong example of this is getvisual.com. And Visual is an insurance carrier software in Columbus, Ohio, but you can already see contrasted main call to action and then re-hitting on their value prop as well. The last section you and I are going to be talking about is, you guessed it, the footer. Donald Miller calls this the junk drawer of your website. So a little bit of a negative connotation in my opinion, but this is where you're going to put the stuff that you don't want to clutter in your main navigation. ClickUp has a really good example of this. So they have what they have in their main navigation here on the left, and it's under their company name. They have all of their resources right here, their features, their comparison pages, which is a commonality I've seen on a lot of sites, is you don't want to clutter up something like that in your navigation. And you can also, it's a good way to list your competitors in your footer. Okay, I'm in the market for your product. How does it stack up right away? And also learning resources. You want to make sure you include some kind of company branding and your social links as well. We also see a lot of startups that have a small passive call to action, like a newsletter sign up or a one-line form field that's kind of tucked away here in the bottom as well. The main gist with the footer is that you want to keep your navigation as simple as possible and put everything else down in the footer. It doesn't matter really how vertically tall it is. As you can see, ClickUp is sort of a big one. Seamless is another very large footer as well. They have a lot of vertical space in there. They also have a little bit of a call to action right there with some benefits and a clear contrasted one. And just like that, we have the perfect startup website. All these 10 sections are tried and proven methods to be able to convert interested prospects into actual buyers, and they can apply across any industry. From the hero section all the way to that last footer we talked about, every section has a clear purpose, whether it's building trust, highlighting benefits, resonating with your buyers, removing friction, driving action. You want to be intentional with every single section on your site. If you take the structure and customize it with your own unique brand flavor, your own value prop, your own testimonials, this is what's going to set you apart, and you've got a framework that you can work with now. And if you're a marketer or a founder and you're looking for some more inspiration of high converting, high ticket websites, I've actually compiled a visual swipe file that I use every time we go into the wireframing stage and start to apply branding with all of the highest converting websites of all different industries. These are organized by visual colors, call to action, industry, and value prop. You can tab through all of these collections of homepages very simply and begin to visualize how your own company and brand can start to apply to these same principles. That'll be in the first link below. And if you want more resources or even deeper dives on this type of stuff, talk about it all the time, be sure to connect with me over on LinkedIn. If you want to see a super quick reaction video of 3 B2B SaaS websites, you can click this link right here and head on over to that. Super good example of extending on all of these use cases. Peace out. See you guys next week.